And then all of a sudden, immediately you think, oh my God, what am I going to wear? What am I going to say? But, well, all very good, because everyone's predisposed, everyone and all of you are very positive about it, and I'm very happy that our festival can be so important and nice to me. I talk very well to all of the French people that have not come here. I say, and plus you have a great food in San Sebastian, and that's true. Carmen, congratulations for the Donosti Award, because in Colombia we gave you an Oscar for the role of Sofia and El Terco. Nobody's seen that film. I'm really frustrated, and that's why I'm referring to it. Have you got more plans in working in Latin America? Did that film open up another world to you? Yes, that film is the last film in Latin America, and I've worked in Chile and Argentina and so on. And my meeting with Colombia was a marvelous surprise, because when I received the script at home, it's a film, it's a pity that you've not seen, but it's not been purchased. I hope someone will buy it. And I was very lazy. I didn't read it, but it was a marvelous script when I read it, and I was received very hospitably with the actors and the crew. It's a beautiful country, and its landscapes are incredible, and the people have a great sense of humor. Not as dangerous as people paint it, as long as you don't go where you're not supposed to go. And it was a great experience, and I will continue to go back to Latin America. I must recognize that to go over there, I've got to like the story and the role I have to portray very much, because I don't like to travel so far nowadays, but I've had marvelous experience, and the last tour was... Have you got a DVD so that we can show people? I've got photos when it was premiered released in Cartagena. Carmen, apart from your good humor, the fact that you're being given the Donosti Award and many other awards, is it because you're an actress that have known how to respond to all your different agents? You've been a very beautiful girl in cinema. You've become now a mother who's an enormous mother. Now you're a witch. Those translations from one character to another, does that mean you've changed your triple mindset, and that's why you receive these awards, because it demonstrates you're very versatile and great actress? Well, I believe that I've been very fortunate in our job, line of work. You've got to be very lucky. I've got a guardian angel who's incredible, who takes care of my good luck, and I'm useful for any sort of role. All of a sudden, I get called up. I've replaced the ideal actress because the ideal actress didn't exist, and quite often I've been given roles which are very diverse in nature, and I've always taken this profession in a very relaxed manner, because I'd never had too much energy to get nervous, because I've gotten nervous with other things in my life. So therefore, there's a series of things have happened to me, but I think there are many nuances, Spanish nuances, and actresses that are very good in Spain, but they haven't received so many awards because they've not been that lucky enough. It's very tough to think that it depends a lot about whether you receive a Goya. Well, to receive a Goya, you've got to have a film with a fantastic role, with a director who's directed you well, a film that people have seen. And there are many films that don't make it to the Goyas or receive a Goya because they are not appropriately distributed or whatever, I don't know. And it's a group of things or a series of things, and I'm very fortunate. Well, it has gone to my head. No matter how many awards I've received, I use a lot of sense of humor when I think of it. And I think that I've liked more than others, but I think it's a set of things, really. I'm not tall or thin or fat or good looking or not ugly and whatever, so therefore I can get a lot of different roles, and I think that helps me a lot is that I don't care appearing ugly, absolutely ugly on the screen. And when many people say, oh, how did you allow yourself to do that in your actors? I don't give a damn, really. I couldn't care less. Whatever the age I have or everything, I'm getting to the idea. I'm not going to fight against my wrinkles, never, and it's no, not at all, because at the moment being young is a virtue, and that's just a circumstance. I'm 68 years old. I say this to people, oh, she's gotten really old. No, and you say you're 68. So, well, she looks pretty good for 68, doesn't she? So I say it throughout the world, all over the place, everywhere I go. Hi, Carmen. Congratulations for the award. In the newspaper of the festival, Diego Galán says something. He wrote something. He said, "What have I done to deserve this?" If you ask yourself, "What have you done to deserve this?" Quite often, I've asked myself that question. Every time something happens to me, like this award, I ask myself, me, well, how lucky am I? And because there's something quite clear in my mind, and that is, for me, in my life, the easiest thing of all was to be an actress. It's not something that I did very well when I was a child. All of the other things in life have been very difficult for me to do, and much more tears and much more effort to do. But cinema and theatre for me have been the easiest thing. So therefore, every time I receive an award, it's like a surprise. At the end of the day, I take it very well. But yes, I ask myself that question every day. But on the other hand, as in my personal life has been ups and downs, well, I say, well, one for the other. I get one for the other. Yes, over there on the right. You were saying before the varied amount of roles that you've played over there on your right. Okay. You were saying before the varied amount of roles that you've had to portray. It's very difficult. Which one would you, if you had to choose one? There are roles and characters that I've played that are very special because these characters, apart from having a good time, a lot of tickets are sold at the box office and you receive awards, everyone, the director and so on and so forth. It's great. I've got characters like Carmela in the community and the Ley de Deseo. These are the three roles perhaps that have, in any case, I've portrayed so many very good roles. The latest film, the Colombian film, it's a beautiful role I play, a character with a secret that I don't want to tell you about. But it's a very special role, a character that I portray there. So therefore, every time I get a character to portray, it's like it was the first and the last one. Every time of the 24 journalists that I've just received, each one that comes in the door is the first journalist in my life, albeit it's not true. All of the characters you'll portray, when I say that I'm going to play that role, I do it with my soul. If some come out better or worse, but it seems to me, the camera seems to me something which is almost sacred. They say I have a lot of respect for the audience as well, because it seems to me that you've got to do it put your heart and soul into it. So therefore I've got many characters that I've loved very much, and they've served me a lot to draw out a lot of energy when you've got to be the bad girl, or when you scream, or when you kill someone. All of these things have helped me. I've got a lot of characters that I love very much. Okay, there's one question back there on the left, but I think the rest of the team of the film is going to come in, okay? And meanwhile, otherwise we'll ask the question, please. Oh, hi, Carmen. Congratulations. Congratulations. So let's wait for the rest of the cast and the director to come into... No, please ask the question, sorry. Can you see me? Yes, I can. I want to say that congratulations. In your entire career, in your CV, shall we say, what's the character that has given you the most in your career? Well, it's like if I ask you, who do you like more, mum or dad? Who do you love more, mum or dad? Well, I don't know. It's, for example, a film that gave me the entry at an international scale was Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, but it's not one of the films in which I had a great time or enjoyed myself so much. And that has given me, I don't know, the La Ley del Deseo, where I was surprised when I saw it. There was a man within me that I didn't know that existed. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult to choose any character or any film. Okay, let's bring everyone in. Okay, thank you.
¿Esto qué es? Esta cosa.
Esto es para que nos traduzcan si nos preguntan algo en inglés.
Bien, muy bien. Soy muy soldarillo.
Ya te veo mucho en Twitter.
Yo tengo mucha suerte.
Sí, what?
¿Y sabes por qué? Porque lo soy. Esto es
movido.
Hola.
Teóricamente. Sí, señor.
Hola a todos, gracias por estar aquí.
Hi everyone, thanks very much for being here. Thank you for being very patient.
Bueno, vamos a seguir entonces. Se incorpora ahora enseguida Terele Pávez.
Terele Pávez will be here in a moment. And meanwhile, with the whole cast and the director, the whole team, shall we say, I'm sure what they're longing for is to answer your questions. Next question, the second row, please. Microphone here in the second row.
Y voy tomando turno de palabra para quien más quiera.
And then I take turns and people raise your hands, please. Hi, good morning. I don't want to ask a question. I just simply want to congratulate Alex and the entire cast and Enrique because yesterday Atletico Madrid won, by the way, just in case you wanted to know.
Gracias, qué maravilla.
Thank you very much. That's marvelous.
Bien, ahí hay otra.
There's another question there, right in the
Ahí atrás.
left-hand aisle there as you look at the audience. Hi, Alex. Congratulations for the film. To talk about the contents, I can't see you. To go further in depth into the contents, the explosive contents carried out where you've mixed the Spanish crisis, the Basque handball and pelota. You've talked about all of those things, and you talk about and witch hunting as well. Well, can you talk about all of these issues that you address in your film? Well, thank you very much for such an open question. Initially, the idea of the film is to entertain. We don't want to give you too many great messages or to bore the audience with obsessions nor with any neurosis, apart from the inevitable ones that I share with everybody else. The thing here is to laugh and to laugh of the war between sexes and how stupid we men can be at times and how evil some of the women can be at times. To laugh of what happens to me. I've got a problem, I'm misanthropic, and to also try to please with a lot of entertainment and dialogues in which normally the men are not normally involved. Women talk a lot about men. That we've seen it in many films, but in very few films have we seen men gossiping about women, and this is something that I wanted to do. I felt like saying to how weak we can be, to show to what extent we can be manipulated as men, and to what extent, above all, how can we come to not understand what's going on at the end of the day. And as regards to the substrate, or shall we say the different ingredients in the film, well, obviously it's placed in an emblematic places such as the Puerta del Sol in Madrid, which is an example. It's an icon, it's a symbol of Madrid, it's a symbol of Madrid and of the entire country. The Puerta del Sol, we see immigrants. In the Puerta del Sol, we see people buying gold, and obviously not for them because otherwise they wouldn't be there. And we see people who are in desperate situations, dressed up in a different way, trying to make a living, trying to find children that they never appear. And then we also see marvelous couples who are going to meet under the bear and the tree, which is a symbol of Madrid, which is it's an idea of this country. And what would happen, and this is the approach, what would happen if the meager or the weaker or the poorest devils were involved in an escape situation of running away from a place, escaping from a place like this? And as you say, this script is absolutely strambotic. Hi, Alex. Please stand up, if you'd be so kind. Thank you. Hi. First of all, congratulate you and the rest of the cast, and we've had a great time. It's about time. God bless you. God bless you. And secondly, you're one of the few directors, or Spanish directors, who and producers at a national level, apart from two films which are The Oxford Crimes and Perita Durango. The rest of the films you try to have a national cast that you work with, a difference to Bayona, which will make it difficult for you to obtain financing, on the other hand. To what extent does it benefit us in the national industry that the directors, our directors, have to immigrate and leave? Does it benefit, or to what extent is that, does it affect us negatively? Good question, very good question. Well, first of all, I think it's undeniable that Bayona is an incredible director. He just received the National Cinematography Award. And secondly, I want to say that we are all free to do whatever we deem pertinent or convenient. If Bayona wants to make a film, a big budget with English actors, and that to a certain extent has a repercussion, because in fact it does, in the Spanish industry and market, that's we should welcome that. That's one way of doing it. I'm a bit older, and I enjoy enormously understanding what the characters say. It's not because I don't understand English. I don't suffer from that national disease that we all do. What occurs to me is that I like very much that the characters suffer in places where I've suffered. I like the characters to live where I walk down the street. Normally, I live or lived up until, well, 100 meters away is where I live now, because the rent is much cheaper. But I lived in the Puerta del Sol, so therefore every day I was thinking about the film right at the door of my house, so the doorstep of my house. So I think it's very extraordinary and quite egotistic on the other side to abuse of the trust of actors that I have around me to build and construct my films. But it turns out that apart from being my friends, they are incredibly good actors. One of the most marvelous things that we have in this country are those people that play the roles who get in front of the camera in our films. I feel frankly proud. They know more about movies than me, they know more about life than me, and nevertheless they put up with me, which is something truly marvelous. So that is why, and excuse me, that's why I want to make films here in our country, albeit it might sound strange, albeit. Yes, we want you to continue to make me films here. Thank you very much, darling. I'm going to continue to do so, and I hope for a long time. Let's grow. We grow against adversity.
Hi, the good people from the rock and roll. I'm Ivon Casos, from a rapper in Australia, because I've got a pigmentary. Yes, it's not a joke. I'm not taking the piss. You know, this is the IMC. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and if you'll allow me, very quickly, please. Okay, we were here last year. I'm directing an audiovisual to fight against pigmentary retinosis, which makes us all blind. Yeah, I think I've talked to you. Yes, I'm just going to propose one thing. If you give me 1 minute to talk to my camera after all of this, I would thank you very much. Of course, and congratulations for the film. I had it. Paula Ruiz, they described it to me, and I had a great time. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, and of course, whatever you want. The film has a lot of nuances for those of us who are Basque. We see it a bit more specially differently, like for the sequence in the caves of Zugarramurdi, Ibagaviga, the song by Mikel Laboa. When the actors heard the music the first time, what did they think? And how was it with practically all of the people from Zugarramurdi? The whole town was there participating. Thank you very much. Well, it was absolutely marvelous, and it was exactly just as you told it. Obviously, you got goosebumps because it was a special feeling. I had been to Zugarramurdi the week before, and due to these things that happen in life, I had spent years wanting to go to Zugarramurdi, but I didn't have the opportunity of going there. I'd read many books about the subject matter. Jorge and myself, we were going over and over, shooting in Zugarramurdi from El Día de la Bestia. And for Jorge and for me, Zugarramurdi, in the north of Navarre, symbolizes or exemplifies what for others is Salem. Salem is well known throughout the world, and Salem, the truth, not great things happen in Salem. It wasn't too funny, but you know, the Anglo-Saxon world has a certain capacity of projecting itself internationally. So therefore, we wanted to talk about Zugarramurdi because the concept of witchery, everything that we know as a witch,
to a great extent depends upon the Inquisition process in Logroño, of what the Zugarramurdi witches said that they were saying that they did in the Sabbath scenes in the cave. That sounded absolutely fascinating for me. That is to say, the witches, as we know them, the witches of Halloween who appear in New York or in Minnesota or wherever, have a hat which is truly the Navarre hat which is worn in the folklore of Navarre. When they say that they fly, is that because he holds... they fly is because with that juice they enter into a trance. That's why they fly. So therefore, and then we flew out the window. So when they said they're flying out the windows, I imagine, well, no matter how lysergic this may sound, they must be really high. So when I went to Zugarramurdi, I said, no, the kitchen has a window which goes out to the street. That's what happened. That's what used to happen with the witches. They would get together with a liquid, with a tar from these toads, and a la manita moscaria, as Jaime says in the film, and they used to scrape it in their armpits or between the legs, and that's why the witches have a broom between their legs. When they entered into a trance, they flew out the window because they couldn't find the door. So therefore, they had to leave the kitchen and walk down the corridor. And I was in one of their houses, thanks to the kindness of the family that descends from Garcia Barnechea, which is the character of Carmen. I had the opportunity of visiting their home and eating with them. The first thing I said, where's the kitchen? Show me the kitchen, please, because in the Inquisition, they confess that the tar pots are hidden in the chimney, in the fireplaces. So they cook here, and this is where they live. That's why they use that they rub it on the broom, and that's why they go out the window. And that is why they call it the flying of the. That's why witches fly, multiplied by the cave in the appearance of Aker, for example, in the Sabbath. Zugarramurdi, to a certain extent, is essential in the history of the anthropology in Europe as a whole, and more specifically for our film, which obviously doesn't talk about all of these things that I've just said. It was a good foundation so that Jorge and I took on very nicely because we thought it was very exciting. And as regards to how the women in the town received the party and everything, they were just over the top. They were over the moon. I think we're not going to be able to ever repeat that shoot again. Why? Because we had to get together a whole town, take them at night wherever their great-great-grandmother held these Sabbaths, and to present the shooting of this shooting it again with very good wine permitted by the production, because they knew it was to improve the film. So therefore, that ecstasy and catharsis of hundreds of women giving their all, that was great joy. There were marvelous people during the shoot and experiencing at that time a single and unique situation at the same time.
Sí, adelante, por favor.
Yes, please. Next question. Over here. Yes, the film is a lot of fun, and what was the best part? What was the most enjoyment, the greatest fun when you shot the film? What was the part that you enjoyed the most? Well, I don't want to compare myself, I don't want to compare myself with Billy Wilder at all, but when he did The Apartment, for example, I'm sure he wasn't enjoying himself. I don't think anyone that makes a comedy enjoys himself when he's shooting, because the administration of time, or administering time, at least the director or the people in charge, the director is a guy that becomes responsible of that being done the right way, and that's it. It's very simple to be the director of the film and say, no, I control things, and that's when you're director of something. Nobody wants to become responsible of what's happening, obviously, so therefore there's a moment when you say, I do this, and I'll finish this tomorrow. That's what the director is about. So therefore, it's not easy practically. It's practically impossible to enjoy oneself, despite the fact that you fake it and you enjoy yourself and you have a good laugh. But you're really concerned inside that you're going to fulfill it in 9 weeks shooting. So to not let down the producer who has trusted you, Mr. Enrique Cerezo says, you're going to do this film? Yes, it's fun. I want to do it. Okay. He said, you're going to do it in this 9 weeks? Yes. Okay. And that's it. It's marvelous. Probably the best producer I've ever had. And thanks to Enrique and his confidence, I have got to respond later. I've got to come up with the goods. And thanks to a production team, which is quite surprising, we've got Carlos over there as well, and Pedro and many others, and Marco, who's come along as well. We made it possible when it was truly impossible. That couldn't be shot in that period of time. We couldn't shoot, that sequence couldn't have been shot in 5 days. It was materially impossible, and I knew that. But it doesn't matter. Well, I had to do it, so therefore it's free falling. It doesn't matter. Let's die in the attempt, and that's what we did. We did this thanks to the incredible and the courageous of Carmen hanging herself from 8 meters high from a cable, and I swearing to her that she's nothing was going to happen to her, and me checking the wire at the same time, and Carolina and Hugo and Mario, and that's how we do things in Spanish cinema. Let's shoot a sequence in which the actors are tied up to this crossbar, and with an equivalent fire at 3 meters high, which would burn, and you could roast 3 cows with. Well, how do we do this, Alex? We're very interested in how we do this, Alex. Well, this is done tying you truly to a crucifix almost, and putting a fire, really equivalent fire, in front of you. So therefore, they initially laughed, but half an hour later they said, hey, listen, I'm dying. It's hot in here. Well, you can please say whatever you feel, and we had to use a special pair of pants so they could to reject the heat, and people. And so they were the famous, how are you? Are you okay? Yeah, okay, see ya. So you leave quickly so that they don't complain, because there's a bonfire there. So to a certain extent, it was that hot in that situation in the cave. And then imagine the 500 odd women screaming. So therefore, it was that hot at that moment in the cave. I don't remember who said, can I change my position, because I'm already rested on this side. Can I change position? And that's the way you shoot and confront things here and cope with things. To enjoy myself, have fun, yeah, I had fun. I have fun with all of that as well. It's a problem I've got. I like war. Question for Eloy de la Iglesia. We're going to have a problem with that. Unfortunately, he's not here. Sorry. So he's a fantastic guy, Eloy de la Iglesia. Let me talk about Eloy. Eloy de la Iglesia, I wish I had his talent. Eloy de la Iglesia was an incredible director, fantastic director, and one of his films is a favorite film of mine, and wherever he is, I give him a big hug. In this case, you've also made a good film, let's not deny it. You've invented not magical realism, which has already been invented, but magical humor, so therefore you've already got a label and a genre. How? That sounds beautiful, thank you very much. Well, I've got a question as regards the film, that is to say, when the film starts, it seems that apart from a film, it's going to be a film which defends feminism. But then, when the film goes by and you watch it, we think what many men think, and we don't dare say about women. I completely agree with you. And then at the end, hold on to your horses, because the women are going to control us for the rest of our lives. So was that the idea behind it, or which of the three? I'm going to try to break down what you've just said in a more structured manner. But I fundamentally agree with what you've said. They say, initially, obviously, the film starts with credits which are terrifying, that in the sense that we're talking about witches. It starts with witches. The witches evolve, and they go through a series of monarchs and illustrious women who probably would have had something to do with witchery, undoubtedly. And then it turns into characters that represent the power of the brain. Simone de Beauvoir, Frida Kahlo, the power of money, like our dear Angela Merkel, and the power of sex, like our friend Thatcher. And all of this converges into a feeling of admiration and fear. When I've asked about this, I'm responding to something that I sincerely think. Everything I like, I'm afraid of. I like women very much. To draw whatever conclusions you may from what I've just said. And the second question to both actors, George Clooney and Brad Pitt, they are almost fixed in North American and discontinuous and fixed in American cinema. Are you both going to be? Thank you very much for the direct comparison. I don't know who's got to answer here, but thank you very much. Well, if I can continue to work, they can do whatever they want to me. I don't mind. The truth, I sincerely, that's what I believe. Yeah, well, at the end of the day, it's a luxury that a director like Alex, I'd seen his films, I didn't know who, I hadn't met him personally. Hugo and I, we're more known for work that we've done, which is completely different to this. And what Alex said to us, or told me when I met him, is that he wants to get rid of that image that you have from him. He wants to start from zero and start from scratch. And I just shaved my head, a scar on my face, put on some weight, something that I hadn't been seeing. I think that for me, I'm very happy, I'm very proud that he had borne me in mind to play this role. And I hope I've made the grade as regards to what he thought, and that's it. I hope that he can call us to make many more films, and I hope it's with Hugo as well. Yeah, let's hope so. For me, it's Roger Moore and Tony Curtis again. Both of them. They're those types of characters who express with an enormous amount of emotion and tension any internal feelings, and you feel it and you notice it. Normally they're worried about you're the good lookers from Spanish cinema, you're the handsome heroes in Spanish cinema. The first thing you say is that's ridiculous, because that doesn't happen. Think about them seriously. There are 400,000 guys as beautiful, as good, handsome as him and Mario, of which I'm one of them, by the way. And those people don't make it because they lack something. They lack charisma, they lack seduction, and that forms part of the work, indispensable in work of an actor. An actor is a guy who you put himself in front of four guys and you look at that actor. That's an actor. The guy that you look at. Why? Because he's got that capacity to seduce you, that way of managing the camera. That is, say, Mario knows exactly how he's got to look at the camera. He understands quite perfectly the evolution and the development of a certain scene that we all, depending on what he does, he's got that power that when he's in another part of the scene, he said, it's difficult, put the camera somewhere else. No, I've already shot it. Well, let's shoot it, I'll shoot it again. It's very complicated to not feel attracted by that innate seduction that he has. And this is something that you forget when you work. You forget, and it's left to one side, like when you leave to one side or disregard or rigorously evaluating humor. Films, you do a drama film, for example, a dramatical film is analyzed and you discover, well, there's a series of moments, key moments, in which the director develops that internal world that to a certain extent excites us. In comedies, no. You go, ha-ha, I've laughed. Ha-ha, I've laughed, guys. And so that for a joke to be funny or for a gag to work, I'm not saying because of me, because of the films that I really admire, it's overwhelming the amount of work behind it. That's it's incredible what you've got to know in movies, how to place the general close-up and the long shot and so on. You shoot the same joke in a short or in a general shot, and you may laugh or not laugh, or fall over laughing or not laugh. It's the mechanics of seduction are managed by these two guys and perfectly well. And the truth is, I couldn't have thought of better actors in order to play the roles that they have. Congratulations for the film, and I'd like to know whether the creation process and the ideas of generating your films and the ideas from Acción Mutante up until this release, the way you do your films and think about your films. Give the microphone to Jorge as well. I'm sure he has something to say about it. Jorge and myself have always worked in the same manner. I fooled him with Balada Triste de Trompeta. I went on my own and I got a bit, I wanted to go out on my own, and Jorge has gone out with Daniel Monzon and other directors, and he's had a few drinks with other directors, and I don't bear this in mind. I think that's okay. So yeah, I'm not jealous. Let's not. But the creative and working process is exactly the same. We get together, we think about a story. Sometimes the story stems from him or stems from me. Sometimes it stems from both of us at the same time in a specific situation that we've lived through together, for example, and then we prepare a process of confirming and denying. I said something and he says, that's absolutely ridiculous, and I say, okay, and we leave it. And he said, let's do this, and I go, oh, that's ridiculous, and we leave it until we find points in common. They say, well, let's go down this line, and then we feel that that's the way the film should go. It's a magical moment that you feel when, for example, in this film, let me explain how we develop. I wanted to shoot in a cave. I said, I need a Sabbath scene. I said, we need characters to go to the Sabbath scene. The Sabbath scene is dominated by women. We need women, powerful women. Carmen emerges, obviously. And therefore, we need women who live in Zugarramurdi and who try to domain and control the world. So, Basque matriarch, anthropology emerges, Caro Barroja, we remember Barandiaran, we go crazy with the mother goddess, and we read Grace, and all of those people that drive us crazy. I remember the years at the university, the books that I didn't read, I read them. All of this takes place, and it generates something which brings about characters who are left to one side, and all of a sudden you go, well, Jesus, these people are running. They've got to run away from what? Running away from women. Yeah, that's not going to be understood. A hold-up. Yes, a hold-up and running away from their wives or women. And therefore the film starts to take shape. These are needs that arise, but there was still something missing. And so, well, why? What they're going to live is a punishment. It's a divine punishment. Why? What have they done wrong? Apart from not understanding women and to act as idiots. They're like, well, they've stolen something. I buy gold and 25,000 gold rings in a bag, and then we realize that that's like the Ark of the Covenant. It's the Ark of evil. They're all of the promises that have failed, all of the betrayals, infidelity, and that's negative, pure negative karma, and it justifies what happens later. And that's how we develop the script, based upon answers and questions that are responded to with different actions, not with thoughts. And that's it. And Jorge can continue. Unfortunately, we've got to finish, so therefore, thank you very much. Jorge, please say something.